Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome to Menopause Mindset Monday, even though it's Tuesday. Hi everyone on Facebook, hi everyone on Instagram, how are you doing? So this is the place to get inspiration and motivation on how to have a much better menopause transition using the power of your mind and your perspective. So I hope you're doing well today. Let me know how you are. I'm feeling amazing because I've just come back from a little 3-day break in Wiltshire, feeling fresh and ready to get started, ready to remotivate myself. So let me know how you're doing and let me know if you've been watching any of the other videos and how they've been for you. So today is the four out of 5 videos in this series on entrepreneurship at menopause/midlife. And today's video is called How to Start Charging, or How to Start Charging a Bit More. So I think this is a really important subject at menopause because at menopause and midlife, we just don't have the energy that we used to have when we were young spring chickens. So back in the day when I was in my 20s and in my 30s, I could do 6 massages back to back. I could do 5 or 6 singing lessons back to back. I wasn't doing therapy back then, but I had a lot of energy. So I could work a lot and I could get paid a decent enough amount of money for me at the time. But I just can't do that anymore. I don't have the energy to do 5 or 6 singing clients a day. I don't have the energy to do 2 or 3 RTTs a day. I just don't. Maximum I do is 1 RTT a day. And I probably only do really about 3 or 4 a week maximum because they take a lot of my energy. So I need to actually charge more so that I can work less. And then I actually have more to give my clients. So I don't know if you can relate to that if you're watching this. And also there's something else that happens at menopause and midlife. We know more, we have more wisdom. And I think it's important that we start charging for that wisdom because there are many younger people, coming up the rear who want the wisdom. They want the information that we have got, and we need to really see the value in that wisdom and that information and that experience that we have. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about imposter syndrome in this live, and I'm also going to be talking about the psychology of charging more as well. And I'm going to teach you how to put your prices up too, because often it's not very logical. We know we should, we know we could, but often we don't know how to. So I'm going to be talking about that too. So here we go. How do we know when to start charging? So if you're new in business, I'm mainly talking to wellness entrepreneurs here, people in the wellness space. How do we know when to start charging? So you might have qualified recently, and you might be going, well, am I ready to start charging? Well, you have to know when someone is going to be willing to pay. That's the crux of it all. That's the long and short of it. So when someone is willing to pay for your work, that is how to know when you are ready to start charging. It might sound really obvious, but often we don't see the obvious when we're in the thick of it. So I've got a couple of examples. When I was training in RTT, I used to give sets, this was like 4 years ago, I used to give sessions for free. As I was training, I was building up my case studies. And after I'd finished with a client this one time, it was a smoking cessation session, she said to me, wow, that was absolutely amazing. I really want to give you some money for that. So that is how I knew when to start charging for my rapid transformational therapy sessions. I didn't know when to start charging up until that point. I was just doing them for free until I felt confident enough to hold the space and to guide someone through fully a hypnotherapy session. And then when this person said to me, I'm going to give you some money for it, which I think was like 50 quid, then I started charging 50 quid for my RTTs. And I did that for maybe 10 sessions, and then I put my prices up again after 10 to like 75. Then I put them up to like 100, then I put them up to like 150. So as my experience and my success rate was growing, my prices would reflect that. Hey Ben, hey Nancy, hey lovely. So yeah, you have to know intrinsically, you have to know intrinsically, viscerally inside of yourself that what you are offering is a value. And sometimes you don't know that until somebody offers you some money for it or says to you, you really should be charging more. I've been saying that to my lady that does my pedicure for ages. Like, you really should be charging more. It's a bit too cheap. And finally, the penny's dropped. So, yeah. But I just want to talk for a moment about women in the wellness industry, because we get into the wellness industry because we want to help people. And there is this idea floating around the wellness space and in some spiritual circles that if you want to be of service, you really shouldn't charge. And, I find that idea a bit, it riles me, to be honest. And because it comes from a lack mindset. However, there are a lot of women in the wellness space, and men as well, that do feel this sense of unworthiness, or who feel this sense of, I should just do it for free because I'm a spiritual person. We really need to stop those narratives, because we can do so much more. We can change the world so much more with money than without money. So we really do need to start charging for it, for our worth. Of course, there are some things that we can do unconditionally. Of course, there are some pro bono things that we can do. Of course, we can give unconditionally to someone who is in need. But, if we really want to coexist in this world where money circulates, we have to play the game. We can't not really play the game. We have to do it. Okay. So how do we start charging? If we're not charging already, how do we start charging? You have to ask. You have to ask for money. You have to put your prices on your website. When people ask you how much it is, you have to tell them. I know this seems really obvious, but this bypasses so many people. Often people don't realize. Often, I've reached out to people and said, well, how much do you charge? And they can't tell me. Or they're holding back from letting me know how much their charges are. It's like they're ashamed of their prices. Don't be ashamed of your prices. Like, if you're not that confident right now, you don't have to charge £1,000 for a coaching session right now. You can charge 50 quid or 75 quid or 100 quid. You got to charge what feels right for you in this moment. But you do need to advertise your prices. I think that's my personal opinion. If people don't put their prices on their website, it makes me a little bit untrusting of them. I like everything to be out in the open. I like the cards to be laid out in front of me. I like to know what is going on, because if I'm going to jump on a discovery call with somebody, I need to know that I can afford it. If I jump on a discovery call with someone and they tell me it's £10,000 to work with them, that's not in my ballpark at the moment. But if I know it's 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, I know what I'm getting myself into. So I'm already primed and ready for that discovery call. So that's what you need to do if you're a coach or a wellness entrepreneur or somebody in the wellness space. Really just be fully transparent about what you charge so that people know what they're getting themselves into, because you don't want your time to be wasted. If somebody jumps on a call with you and they go, oh my God, that's completely out of my reach, you've just wasted half an hour. You don't want that for yourself, because time at midlife is so precious. Like, it's probably more precious than money at midlife. And the other thing is that people do expect to pay. So if you book a massage with somebody, you expect there to be an energy exchange. So if you're not charging, that's actually going to make the person who's having your service feel a little bit awkward, because the energy is going to be out of balance. So not only are you doing yourself a disservice if you don't charge, you're actually making the other person feel a bit awkward. Unless it's a case study or something like that, then that's totally different. So yeah, also I just wanted to tell you this thing, because back in the day when I used to do more singing lessons than I do now, I still do teach singing, but I do less of them. But back in the day, probably about 7-8 years ago, perhaps if I had a lull in my clients, I did this thing once where I said, okay, I put it out there, I'm going to do some free trials. And part of me was a bit reticent, but I did it anyway. And I noticed that none of those people that came for free lessons ever converted into paying clients. And same with when I did free taster hypnotherapy sessions, none of the clients converted. So I'm doing my kind of freebie taster stuff or taster experience here by doing my Facebook lives and my Instagram lives. These are my freebies. These are helping you to know, like, and trust me. But, we're so lucky we have the internet, we can do this. But when I was doing, I would never advise any of my clients to give away free massages or give away free singing lessons or free coaching sessions, because it doesn't really work. The only type of people you get are freeloaders. And that's not the kind of client that you want. You don't want freeloaders, because people who are freeloaders just want free things. And there's plenty of free resources on YouTube. But you want clients who are going to be invested in themselves, their self-growth, and who are going to really respect you and your skill set and what you can achieve. You've worked hard to achieve your skill set, so you need to be remunerated for it. That's the world that we live in. Yeah, you want people who are fully committed and engaged and ready to take their life, their voice, their health, whatever, to the next level, their business to the next level. Okay, so that's all well and good, but this doesn't solve the problem of imposter syndrome. Okay, so many people who are starting, or even experienced people, tend to struggle with imposter syndrome. And sorry, hang on one second. Yeah, they might have this belief, this feeling, this idea that their work isn't good enough, and that there are people out there who are doing much better quality work than them, so why should they even bother? And I've experienced this is something I still experience today, but I recognize it. We all have it. Albert Einstein used to have imposter syndrome, so I always think I'm in pretty good company. If Lady Gaga has imposter syndrome, I'm in good company. If Albert Einstein had, probably the most genius person on the planet, experienced it, then I'm in good company. We all suffer with imposter syndrome, and no level of accomplishment is ever going to it's never going to finally scratch that itch. And I think it's good to have a bit of imposter syndrome, because it actually keeps us in check, keeps us balanced, it keeps the ego in check. Yeah, it just keeps we don't want to get too arrogant with our work. And I think imposter syndrome is good. It keeps us seeking that level of excellence, so that we can continue to better ourselves, but our service for our clients, so that we can keep delivering more and more good stuff. Yeah, okay, so it's perfectly normal to feel imposter syndrome, and we have to recognize where we are at with our levels of confidence, with our levels of skill, and price accordingly. Then when our confidence grows, then our prices match that. Yeah, so coming back to imposter syndrome, there's a few interesting points that I just wanted to discuss about imposter syndrome. So when you see what you do as easy, because you're skilled at it, you've done your 10,000 hours, you might not recognize its value. And so you take it for granted and you think that anyone can do it. You don't see the value in it yourself. You think it's easy. You think anyone can do it. And so you end up taking yourself and your skill set for granted. That's when you end up not charging or not charging enough. So you value yourself down here because you think what you do is easy, when actually it's probably not. It's probably not that easy. Not everyone can give a massage. Not everyone can teach singing. Not everyone can motivate others in the way that you can. Not everyone has the clarity that you have. Not everyone can do accountancy. Not everyone can do law. Not everyone can do brain surgery. Okay, bad example, but you know what I mean. Not everyone can write copy in the way that you can. You have your own unique tone, your own unique language. Not everyone can do a facial like you can. Not everyone can exercise or coach people in the way that you can. So yeah, it's really about seeing and recognizing the skill that you have and recognizing that not everyone has that skill. Yeah. Okay, second point about imposter syndrome. It's very normal and very natural to be critical of your work, especially in comparison to others. We are kind of born with this desire to always try to do better, be better. And we're born with this desire as well to keep other people happy. We have to keep other people happy. We're programmed, people pleasing. People go on about people pleasing, but, I don't want to be a people pleaser. But it's so programmed into our minds because we are programmed to keep other people on side. If we don't keep other people on side, then we could, in theory, become disconnected. And when we become disconnected, our primal brain thinks that we are going to starve, we're just not going to survive. It's when things like people pleasing it sort of rules your everyday life. You become entrenched in it. It becomes all encompassing. That's when we have to do something about it. But a little bit of people pleasing, a little bit of self-criticism to keep that excellence going, I don't think that's a bad thing. So I think we need to recognize that and recognize that it's natural to feel like that, but at the same time, understand where we might be going too far into that story, into that narrative. Yeah. And, social media doesn't help. I think social media exacerbates that natural tendency that we all have. Okay, so how do we start charging a bit more then? So you've been doing what you've been doing for a while. You're charging £50 an hour, £100 an hour. For me, I'm charging £400 for an RTT session plus coaching. How do we start charging more? So before I talk about how to start charging more, I want to just talk a little bit about why it's good to put your prices up, why it's good to not rest on your laurels, because you need to move, you need to evolve. And there's some really good psychological reasons for charging higher prices. Now, you don't need to go from 0 to 1,000,000. I'm not saying that, but actually incrementally putting your prices up is quite a good thing to do. A, because of inflation, and B, as your excellence grows, your wisdom grows, your knowledge grows, your skill set grows, you need to start charging in accordance with that. Otherwise, this thing kicks in. Can you guess what this thing is? This emotion kicks in, which really blocks the flow of new clients. And that is called resentment. And I've experienced it a lot. When you start charging higher prices, you no longer resent the work. You no longer resent your clients. If you resent your clients, you are really putting up a barrier into the universe. You cannot get that flow of attracting new clients to you. So putting your prices up stops the resentment, which keeps the energy flowing, which is a good thing for creating and attracting new clients. So there's some other reasons. How many reasons have I got here? I've got 3 reasons why charging slightly more is actually better for you, better for your clients as well. So number 1 is that people often have a fear of wasting money, and actually by you charging more and by your clients paying more, it keeps your clients more compliant. It keeps them way more invested. So if I've booked a massage that is costing me £100 or £150, I'm going to be way more invested in that massage than if I booked a massage that is £25 or £50. If I turn up to a massage that's costing me £25, I'm probably going to arrive stressed, and I'm probably going to leave stressed, and I'm probably going to get straight on my phone straight afterwards, and it's going to be like it never happened. So it's a false sense of economy. If I pay for a massage, which is £150, which is probably going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours long, I'm going to make sure I bookend that session with a bit of downtime, because I don't want to waste 150 quid on a massage. Okay, same goes with coaching, same goes with therapy. If you are charging more, your clients are going to be way more invested in their outcome, in the success of their treatment, because they don't want to waste money. They don't want to waste 400 quid. They don't want to waste £1,000 or whatever it is that you're charging. Yeah, okay. There's a saying, it works best when you invest. And it really, really does. You know, I've just bought a new car. Well, I bought it in March. And I am so much more invested in that car's cleanliness. I put the right fuel in that car, the more expensive fuel. I clean that car regularly. I take the trash out of that car. I don't want to scratch that car. I drive it better. Whereas my old car, I didn't give a shit about it. It just became like a rubbish tip, really. I didn't clean it. I didn't put the right kind of diesel in it. I put the cheap diesel in it. And yeah, I just couldn't be bothered. And, it's the same sort of psychology is true when people are spending with you. So it's worth considering where you're at in your business and how you can start shifting your perspective around the idea of putting your prices up. Your clients will get better results. This is what I've found anyway. When I was charging cheaper for my RTTs, my clients weren't getting the same results as they're getting now. Okay, number 2. Clients like it when you charge more because it shows them that you believe in yourself. It actually makes them trust you more. They think you're the bee's knees, you think you're the bee's knees, and it's just this positive flow of energy, this virtuous sort of cycle. And when people trust you, when they trust your product, they buy from you, not just once, but they keep coming back to you. So people are very, very motivated by trust. They're also very, very motivated by convenience as well. So I would urge you, if you are charging higher prices, to make it very convenient for people to book with you. Money likes speed. So you probably experience it yourself. You've been on a website ready to buy. This happened to me the other day, actually. I was ready to invest £80 in some supplements, and the website was so clunky that I just abandoned cart, and I still haven't bought these supplements, right? And I want these supplements, but I sort of can't bring myself to try to do it again because it was a stressful experience. So you want ease and flow when it comes to this idea of, getting high-paying clients into your world. Ease and flow. You want the systems to be slick and streamlined. But going back to trust, that's why people buy Apple products, isn't it? So back in the day, used to have a PC. This was before smartphones. And that PC just kept going wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong until I was doing music. And eventually I ended up going, I've got to buy an Apple product. And I've never looked back. They are so reliable. They are so easy to use. They're so convenient to get fixed and repaired. They cost a lot more money than a PC, but what I gain in time, what I gain in sanity is just off the charts. So I'm much more motivated to pay a higher price for a product that I know I can trust. Of course, you have to build that trust over time, but once you do, you're away. Yeah, so this plays into my next point, that really what you're selling or what you're charging for is a feeling. You are charging for a feeling of trust, security, convenience, growth, transformation. That's what people are paying you for. They're paying for a feeling. They're paying for, the feeling of support, the feeling of someone's got my back. So never underestimate that. I think that's hugely important, especially when you're looking at your pricing. Many coaches will say, price the transformation. Don't price the amount of hours that you're working with someone. Because a lot of coaches and mentors and therapists can get a huge amount of transformation with people just by working with them in a short space of time. So it's not always about the time. So number 3 then in this whole conversation around the psychology of selling the psychology of putting your prices up or charging higher prices, is that charging higher prices really ignites your own motivation and it makes you feel so good. When you feel good, you open yourself up to more abundance and the universe gives you more stuff that you love, more clients or whatever it is for you. So putting your prices up ignites your motivation. It makes you feel good. It sets you up for success. And when you set yourself up for success, you are much more likely to set your client up for success. When you feel successful, when you feel confident, when you're not resentful, when you're in a space of abundance, that mirrors your client because of these things in our brain called mirror neurons. So that's why when I get a trauma client in, I need to make sure my nervous system is well regulated. If I'm dysregulated, my client's going to dysregulate. If I'm regulated, my client can co-regulate from me. It's just the mirror neurons. That's how life works. When you're around other successful people, that rubs off on you. You feel more successful yourself. You take it on. It's like they say, isn't it? Become the company you keep. So yeah, putting your prices up improves your attitude to your work. You like your work more. Putting your prices up will make you over deliver. It will make you innovate the hell out of your product or your service. It basically motivates you. It puts a rocket up your backside. And it does that because we fear rejection. I don't want to be charging £450 or £500 for an RTT session and worrying that it's not going to be good enough, or some coaching or whatever I'm delivering, worrying that it's not going to be good enough. So I'm going to make damn sure that I am prepped. I know exactly who I'm dealing with. I know the ins and outs of my client. I've done my discovery call. I've prepped their script. I have done my research. I've looked into some of their issues that perhaps I don't know about. I've refreshed how RTT works. I've gone through the process so that I'm not caught unawares. I'm going to make sure all my equipment's working so that I don't have tech failures. I'm going to be so much more invested in that session if I'm charging more, and the client's going to get a much better experience. They're not going to get all the tech hiccups. I've paid £150 for an RTT session myself and it's just not hit the spot. Not at all. There's been nothing personalized about it. So, yeah. And I've been talking about this idea of putting your prices up before, and often big questions arise like, what about pricing other people out? So when you put your prices up, what about those people that can't afford £450 for an RTT session, but they really need it? So my response to that is, it's the Robin Hood analogy. You take from the rich to give to the poor. So if I'm charging good money for the bulk of my RTT sessions and the people that can afford that are coming in, I then have some wiggle room to reduce my prices for people that can't necessarily afford full price. And I will do that. So if somebody comes to me who maybe is on the breadline, I might even do a free session for someone who really, really needs it. And this is what, big law firms do. They do pro bono cases, don't they, for people who have really been treated unfairly, or they've got themselves embroiled in a situation that they need a lawyer for, but they can't afford it. So yeah, we take from the rich, we give to the poor. This is where your integrity comes in, and this is where your ethics, your values come into play as well here. So yeah, that was a really good question, and I'm really glad that somebody asked me that because it's a valid point. So how do we increase our prices? You've been charging same amount for a while and you want to increase your prices. Well, first of all, you have to announce your price increase, and you have to announce it a little bit ahead of time. So I think a month is a good amount of time. Now, what I do when I increase my prices is I don't just write to my clients and tell them that I'm going to be putting my prices up and that's it. I give them something of value. So this particular video will go onto YouTube, and it will go onto a mail out that I do. And then as a PS, I will write, by the way, in October the 5th, my prices are going up to £450. So now's a good time to get in with me. So you're sort of softening the blow a little bit, and you're giving them something of value. So you could share a video sequence, you could share an email sequence, you could share something sort of like sequential is really good, I think. And then number 2, you want to let them know what they're going to be getting as a result, or what they're going to be getting in return for that higher price. So it's not just about, I'm going to put my prices up because of inflation, although that is a very valid reason to put your prices up. You're putting your prices up because your expertise goes up over time, your skills go up over time. So for me, I can make links much quicker now. So if people come to me for an RTT session, they're under hypnosis, they're telling me about their childhood trauma, I can make links very, very quickly as to what happened to them in the past and why they are the way that they are today. I can make that link very, very quickly now because I'm much more experienced at it. And people want to pay for speed. They want to pay for speed. They also want to pay for insight and clarity. And so, it's important that you make people aware of what they're getting. So what else? Yeah, and it's about you also informing your clients that you invest in you invest in your health, you invest in your well-being, you invest in your own knowledge and expertise. I have a coach, my coach has a coach, and it's all that information is trickling down through all of the time, and it's really worth them investing in you because they're going to be getting that sort of first-hand information. you're curating all of this information so that they don't have to. You're working on your fitness, you're working on your health, you have you have a brilliant amount of brain clarity to give them because you are invested in yourself. So what have I put here? The more I look after my health, the sharper I am, the more I charge. The less clients I need to make the same amount of money, which means I can give that energy surplus to the clients that I'm working with. So there you go. It's just about really justifying your price increase and enabling your clients to recognize that and to see why you're doing that. All right, so I forgot to mention actually that I wanted to tell you something very exciting. So here I am telling you that something very exciting. So I have a friend, a coach, a business mentor called Kirsty, who is doing some free training very soon, next week I believe it is, which is going to be called How to Confidently Start and Scale Your Wellness Business. And I took it myself about a year ago, and working with Kirsty has really changed my life, my business, and my financial situation as well. So let me tell you a little bit more about it, and then I'm going to tell you how you can sign up for it. So she is going to tell you the biggest wellness industry shifts. Because let's face it, these old school ways of doing business, of these old school practices are no longer cutting the mustard. We need new ways of doing business based on relationship building, based on being in it for the long haul. So, I've always said it, Google ads just don't work that well anymore unless you are, a baker in Brighton. But now, we're so global, we're globally connected. We need a totally different way of creating clients. Number 2, she's going to go through with you her short list of business growth strategies, including Insta stories and the new one, Reels, which I love. Been doing some work with her on Reels recently. She's going to teach you about Facebook Lives, podcasting, email newsletters, and, it's enough to make an entrepreneur go crazy. So she's going to let us know what is working in her business, what has worked really well in her business. And she's also going to be letting us know how to know where to spend your time and money when focusing on your business to make sure that you really get to release and let go of this overwhelm, this frustration, and this confusion so that you can identify your unique business blueprint that will sort of set you apart really from others and set you personally up for success. So I highly recommend that you do this free training with her. It's really, really good. The link is my affiliate link, so I'd really appreciate it if you could stick to that link. I know how easy it is to go down the rabbit hole on social media, but the link is kirstykianifar.com/Sally I'm in. That's kirstykianifar.com/Sally I'm in, and there's no apostrophe between the I and the M. Of course, I will put the link in the description wherever you're watching this video, and that's it. That's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you've thought of this session, and of course I will come back and answer any of the comments or questions if you're watching the replay, so it's absolutely fine if you are. And then next week is going to be the final video in this series of entrepreneurship at menopause, and I'm going to be showing you my spreadsheet. Oh, shock horror. So I'm creating, it's nearly finished, an online course called How to Make Sleep Your Superpower. And I just wanted to show you the spreadsheet of how I sort of structured it, because this isn't something that I understood myself, and I think it's something that I think could help you, especially if you're doing one-to-ones and you want to learn how to take that one-to-one business online, or if there's something that you can extract from that and turn it into an online course, then hopefully this video will help you. Right, my lovely ones, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.